Great. It's good to be with you, too. First of all, how much of this did you watch today? And what's your take?
I watched the speech, the inauguration address, which was very interesting, and then paid light attention to a lot of the other materials. We saw a lot of the traditional pomp and circumstance, but as you observed earlier, despite the explicit words saying that he wants to be a uniter and to bring the country together, articulating consistently policies that we know do not appeal broadly in this country.
All right, so what is that going to mean politically? Because you had a lot of cheering going on. And then you had also, I want to say, the current administration just a couple feet away. I'd like to get your take on both of those.
In that sense, inaugural addresses are often very awkward because you have somebody coming into office who either is succeeding somebody who couldn't run again or who was just defeated in an election. So that's not unusual. What was unusual in this case is the claim of a mandate that was broad and deep to change everything about government. We have to remember that although this was in many ways an impressive victory, he won by 1.5% of the cast ballots, and he did not win a majority of the American electorate. So there are real serious reasons to believe that this is not a mandate, particularly for the kind of wholesale change that we know when we poll individual items on his agenda are not popular. But we know that lots of people are concerned about migration, lots of people are concerned about the economy, and he pledged to make serious differences, whether we can get there or not, in both of those arenas.
At times, it was all on a prompter, unlike what he talked about, later. In that area right there that you're looking at, the arena, he really did. This sounded more like a campaign speech when he went to the arena. But earlier in the day, he got a lot of standing ovations. It did sound at times like a campaign speech. And I think for a lot of people, they thought it would be a little more, bringing the country together rather than saying, this is what I'm going to do no matter what.
Well, that has never been Donald Trump's style. In some respects, this was a less smash-mouth inaugural address than the American Carnage speech that he delivered in January of 2017. But he left absolutely no doubt that he was going to pursue all of the migration policies, the economic changes, the changes to the way that people who do not identify as male or female, what kinds of options they would have under his presidency, and issued a very stark message in the form of saying that he was going to, as he had promised in recent weeks, to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, to retake the Panama Canal. He didn't mention force in this address, but it's very clear that he wants to reset the deck in profound ways in foreign policy, economics, and the rights of citizens within this country, particularly given how they claim their gender identity in the United States.
As Sandra Bookman said, I don't know if you saw her just a few minutes ago on our show here, she said, you know what? When I asked her that question, I asked you, she said, hey, he won the election and he's saying what he's going to do, just like he did before. So I think that's probably what we're going to all look for. David, really appreciate that. David Birdsell, Provost and Senior Vice President at Kean University. Appreciate your insight and thank you for joining us as always.